Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, I would like to address some of the issues that have come up with Trump's tariffs. There's several things, and I think it would be easier because of the nature of what we're doing. It'd be easier just to throw all three of these things into a single video. So stick with it. I hope that it will be elucidating, enlightening, educational, as well as sort of giving you a sort of a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. So he said that everything he's doing is a form of reciprocity. That is to say that if you put tariffs on us, we'll put tariffs on you. And I completely agree with him. I mean, 100%. If you want free trade, drop your tariffs, drop your trade restrictions. Let's have free trade. If you're serious, we'll do it. If not, we're going to have your tariffs on. Now, he's got the various rates. And I put the video out last night showing the various rates, how the EU's getting 20%, Laos in Southeast Asia is getting 94%, Vietnam's 74%, things like that. So more or less, countries he doesn't like are getting very high tariffs. If they are countries of the far left, they tend to be getting a higher tariffs. Countries that are not so far left, lower tariffs generally. Now, we know that Britain's getting 10%, the EU 20%. And some people are saying, oh, this is a benefit of Brexit. No, it's not. And while we're out, and yes, it looks like it is beneficial being out, and it is, because if we were in, we would have the 20. It's not really because of Brexit. It's more because we actually have looser trade rules with America, as it exists. Now, we actually don't tariff very much that comes in to America. However, we do have other problems that he doesn't like. Number one is food standards. He would like America to sell more food to Britain, but our food standards are much higher than American food standards. For example, American chicken eggs can't be left out on the side. They would be rotten within a day because of the way Americans clean the outside of an eggshell. It actually removes the perfectly natural covering the egg has that protects against infection. Whereas in Britain, we don't, which is why we leave our eggs out on a side or in an egg, an egg holder. You usually get egg-shaped egg holders and things. Whereas Americans, they have to fridge their eggs. And I always think fridged eggs don't cook so well. That's just me. But there's chlorinated chicken. They wash their chicken in. I mean, we're not talking swimming pool levels of chlorination here. It's probably 1/10 of the chlorine you get in a swimming pool. It's very, very mild. Incredibly mild. You barely notice it. Even if you're there with the chlorine dip, you'd be struggling to smell it on the chlorine dip. But it just goes through there and it cleans the outside of the chicken. And again, we don't do that. One of the very strange things is that the bacteria in chicken is beneficial bacteria. Unless the chicken's absolutely rancidly off kind of thing. But generally, the chicken... This is why the old Jewish thing, the Jewish mother went, hey, have some chicken soup. You'll feel better. It's genuinely true. The bacteria in chicken soup are actually beneficial. They do make you feel better. And, strangely, it is the bacteria in chicken that give chicken its flavour. And people don't realise that. And that's why chicken, especially if you get, and I don't know if you've ever had breast chicken, and I don't mean chicken breast with a T, breast, B-R-E-S-S-E, breast chicken from France. It's horrendously expensive. And I've only had it maybe 2-3 times in my life. But it is the most chickeny chicken you ever chicked. And that's there, and that's because of the specific bacteria that lives within that breed of chicken, apparently. But it's gorgeous. But of course, then washing all that through, chlorinating, and that kills all the bacteria, takes all the taste away. American chicken, very bland, And there's other food things that we like, cheese, for heaven's sake. They won't allow haggis into America, for example. There's all sorts of things, but with us, it's not the tariffs. It's mainly food standards and freedom of speech. He does not like what Starmer's doing, locking people up for dissent. How dare you say something the government don't like? Off to jail for 3 years, old lady. It's outrageous, really. Anyway, there's that. So that's where our position with the tariffs is. Now, we could easily get down to zero tariff. On the few things we do tariff, get rid of them. Allow American food to come in. I absolutely agree. Allow American food to come in. Brilliant. Just label it up as American food. Now, if we're not stopping it coming in, it's up to us to not buy it as the consumer, and that's fine. I mean, if they've got the right to sell it, there's nothing they can do. We've got the right not to buy it, and so the end result is they won't be bothering sending it over anyway because they know they're not, just losing money. Hey, there we go. And then we can get rid of all these tariffs. Brilliant. Oh, and don't lock people up. Anyway, part 2, we're going to have a look at something that was mentioned, and it's quite ridiculous. Now, I picked this up, funnily enough, in the Sydney Daily Herald. I do go a long way for you lot, and that is that one of the countries he's tariffing is the herd. Was it herd? I've forgotten. I've written it down. Herd of McDonald Islands. There we go. Now, why is that odd that he's tariffing the herd of McDonald Islands? Only 10%. What's odd is that no one lives there. It's an island populated exclusively by basically seals, seabirds. I was going to say and penguins. Penguins technically are seabirds, obviously, yeah. But, flying birds and swimming birds. And that's basically all who lives there. Birds and seals. Mainly penguins. Not noted, I think, for their export capabilities. Unless you're talking guano. But a lot of people have been ridiculing this and saying, well, he's a bloody idiot. Look at it. Nobody lives there. He's not an idiot. And I'll explain why. I know I've seen this. I picked this up on the Sydney Daily Herald, but then I started seeing it in a couple of others. And I think there's a piece in the London School of Economics page or something. You'd think they'd know better. They're all ridiculing him. But here's the thing: the herd of McDonald Islands are actually Australian outer territory. That is to say, they belong to Australia. But although they're independent in theory, but because no one lives there, they are administrated by Australia. But they are technically their own island. Who owns them? Who can say? Nobody lives there. It's very inhospitable. It's out in the middle of nowhere in the Southern Ocean. So you really wouldn't be thinking of setting up home there. So why put the tariffs on? Well, this is very, very simple. It's owned by Australia. If you don't tariff those islands, Australia could put a hut on those islands and call it the Ocker Export Agency Limited or something. And they could run their entire export business through that little hut, if you will. And therefore, the whole Australia wouldn't have any tariffs because it'd all be sold out of the herd of McDonald Islands. So he's doing it not to put a tariff on the herd of McDonald Islands, but to ensure Australia doesn't have a back door into America tariff-free. It's not dumb, it's not stupid. Thinking about it, it's quite sensible. There we go. Finally, and I did mention this in a video I did in the wee small hours, I was laying there and I just woke up and I just thought, you know what? And I looked, oh yeah, so I did a quick video, it's only a minute long. But I'm just going to reiterate it here. Stock markets, they've all fallen. They've all gone down because, change. This is what happens every time. The stock markets panic. And they panic because they don't know what they're going to do. So there's a sell-off to make sure everybody gets their cash out. Oh, they've got it. That drives the prices down. The prices are down. Go and buy them. Go and buy the stocks now while they're low because they will rise. Because it'll become the new normal. And once it's normal, people have confidence. People like normal. This is different. Stocks go down. As it normalises, the stocks will rise up again. These companies are still making the same shit, aren't they? If you've got an investment in a mining company, say, it's still going to be digging shit out of the world, out of the earth. If you own an oil stock, it's still going to be pumping. If you own tobacco stocks, people are still going to have a wee smoke, aren't they? It's madness. Just because the stock price goes down, meaningless. Stock prices only count when you're selling them, or buying them. Just let them sit there. If the companies tick over, they're still making money, aren't they? And so there we go. So that is where we are. Just be thankful we're not Japan, 24%, China, 54%, Laos, 94%. Wow. So, 10%, we can get it down. Let them sell their chlorinated chicken. We just don't buy it. Thanks a lot. Bye.